The town of Arkham is stirring with turmoil. Two students from Miskatonic University have disappeared in the last week, and no one knows anything about them except that they were, in the last few weeks, schoolwork had sort of declined, and they seemed to lose interest in talking to their former friends. And then they both disappeared. So the town is on edge, and it's mid-October. Ordinarily, this would be a town full of life because of the university at this time of year, but people are looking over their shoulders, and there's a feeling of dread, like something's going on that people don't know about. Now, Arkham is a town that forgets its incidents fairly quickly, but this one seems to be sticking due to the fact that the students disappeared a week from each other, and also that they were both quite well liked in the university community. Constable Astrid Elliott, you have been called to check in on a student who has not been to class in several days, who seems to be have some of the qualities that the missing students have shared, in that he has sort of lost interest in schoolwork and has not shown up for any of the events that people were expecting him at. His name is Walter Resnick, and you, because of the fact that you often get the most menial and useless jobs from the Arkham police force, were tasked with literally knocking on his door and checking to see if he's okay. You've had to do this a few times with other students in the last couple of weeks when people have been worried about them. It has always turned into nothing. They've been studying, they went off to Boston, they snuck out. So it is with some amount of, I guess, business-like resentment that you climb the stairs of this apartment hall. It's a boarding house that a lot of students use, and you find the door to Resnick's place. And describe yourself on this Wednesday, mid-October.
I think I have not even bothered to wear my uniform. I have a badge and my pistol as usual, but I think I'm wearing like my regular clothes because once I left the police precinct, this was the last thing I was going to do that day, and I just want to go home. I've been doing paperwork after paperwork, filing tons and tons of reports that say nothing happened, nothing to mention on all of these kids that I've checked up on. Frankly, I want to go home and I'm tired. However, I think I'm a little grateful that things haven't been too wild the last couple of weeks. I got like a really small injury in our last adventure, so I'm happy that that's healing up.
It is indeed, and you're feeling that even though it was extremely disturbing what you witnessed there, and dealing with Innsmouth police was unusual, to say this, to say the least of it. You've shrugged that aside, and you're just getting lost in the day-to-day police work that you've been doing. You knock on the door, and of Walter Resnick's place. No answer.
Okay. I'm gonna knock again and say, Mr. Resnick, it's Arkham Police.
Still nothing.
Mr. Resnick?
There's one of the doors right beside apartment on the hallway opens up, and someone looks out and then closes their door.
Okay. I'm going to make a note of what door it is. I'm going to knock one more time. Say, if you don't come out now, I'm going to get the key from the landlady, and I'll be coming in.
Nothing.
Can I try the knob?
Yeah, you've tried it. It's locked.
Okay. I'm going to turn around and knock on the door that I saw creaking open.
You can make a spot hidden roll.
Okay.
There is a cold draft. It being mid-October, there's a bit of a cold draft coming through the doorway from under it.
From Resnick's room.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to turn around and knock on the other door.
The door opens a little bit, and there's a oldish woman. She's ancient, like mid-50s. So that joke gets better and better. 49 in a month. Anyway, so the door opens a crack, and this woman looks at you and she says, "Yes."
You seem interested in what I'm doing here. My name's Police Constable Elliot.
Oh,
Do you know Walter Resnick?
you're a police officer. But you're a woman.
You are incredibly intelligent and keen. We are hiring, if you're looking.
That's too dangerous for someone like me. I prefer the quiet life that I have. She opens the door just a little bit. What can I do for you, officer?
Do you know Walter Resnick? He's one of your neighbors.
That's the boy who lived next door.
Can you tell me anything about him? His friends and family are worried he hasn't been to school and hasn't been in contact with his parents.
Oh, well, all I know is he makes noise in the middle of the night.
What kind of noise?
Oh, he must have the worst dreams. He's constantly making noise, shouting, and it's terrible. I've complained to the landlady, but they like the student bucks that they get.
I'm sure they do. What was your name, ma'am?
Walsingham.
Mrs. Walsingham?
Mrs. I'm widowed.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry to hear that.
My husband in the Great War. I miss him. You should think about perhaps. She gives you some marital advice that I don't really want to do.
That's fine. I'm going to nod very patiently. Maybe one day for me, but I'm 25 and guess I'm just an old maid.
An old maid? I married at 17.
Yeah. How did that turn out? Well, isn't that just a fairy tale? Now, Mrs. Walsingham, could you tell me about these people that visit Resnick? You said they're strange? How so?
They're just they're kids, probably university students like him. But, they're odd. They look tired. They look gaunt. They look like they could use a good meal.
Okay. Do you suspect that they've been consuming alcohol, marijuana, illegal drugs of any kind?
They could be into that stuff. I don't know. I've never seen them carrying any alcohol, and there's never a smell of any of that Mary Jane plant.
What was Resnick like as a student or as a neighbor?
I thought
was he friendly?
A nice young boy. A couple of months ago, he helped me bring some groceries up to this floor. He seemed very pleasant, very nice young man. And then last month or so, he's just been very withdrawn and rude almost.
And that's very unlike him.
Well, I don't know. It's not pleasant. I don't know what he's really like. Perhaps the other one was pretending. Maybe he was pretending to be nice so he could lull me into a false sense of security.
Were you concerned that he would be violent?
Well, I worry all the time about these kids. Since I lost my Henry, I'm on my own, and I worry that these types will do something, rob me, to get money for their jazz.
Astrid has a completely straight face, but is like crying, laughing inside. Can I see into her apartment at all?
Yes. You can make a spot hidden, please.
Sure. Okay, regular success.
Regular success. There are lots of doilies covering everything that a doily can cover, and pictures of her husband, Henry. And
was he a babe?
No. He was not a babe, but you can see there are pictures of him in uniform in the Great War, and she has a lot of what look like fashion magazines from Paris.
She's the big bad. You got to check her out.
I don't know. It's Arkham. Who the fuck knows? She's actually just made of tentacles under that nightgown. Do you know where the office of the landlady is?
Yes, it's downstairs. Just knock.
And what was her name?
101. Her name is Walsh.
Okay. Is there anything else you can tell me about Walter?
No, I just want the screaming to stop. That's all.
Okay. I guess I'm gonna leave then.
All right, and if you can get me some reduced rent this month for the BS I've been putting up with, that would be really helpful.
I'll see what I can do. Thank you very much for your help.
She closes her door.
Okay. Can I go over to...
Moved away from it. She's now just listening.
Yeah. Can I go to Resnick's door and can I listen?
Yes.
If I can hear anything inside? So.
Make a listen roll, please.
So hard success.
You can actually hear the ticking of a clock in there, but no other noise. Yeah, you go see the landlady, and she hands you the key after she sees that you're a police officer. You provide your credentials, and in 2 minutes, you're right back where you were before with the key in hand.
Okay, I'm going to open the door.
Excellent. So you open the door, and you see, the first thing you see is the white light from a window and curtains blowing into the room and giving sort of a gray pall to the whole place. You can smell the trees, and there's a scent, an October scent in the wind. And when you open the door, of course, there's a bit of a cross breeze, and so there's a real sort of wind that hits you. The place itself, after noticing the door, or sorry, the open window, you cast your gaze down and you see obviously a dead man.
Oh God.
He sits on the bed. He's sitting up, and his tongue is out, and his face is sort of caught in an expression of extreme pain.
Oh.
And his tongue is black.
Okay. Certainly, I think this is unlike anything Astrid's seen, I would assume.
Yeah, this is hard. It's hard for you to experience. I'm not going to make you make a sanity check because it's within the realm of police duties.
Okay.
But there's something about his face that's rather shocking in the way that he died, and his tongue sticking out sort of farther than you would have expected it to. like really far out and completely black.
Okay.
He met whatever. He's met a gruesome death.
Can I do 2 checks? Can I do a spot hidden on him to see if, well, spot hidden on his room to see if anything suggests foul play, I suppose. And then 2, spot hidden on him to see if I can A, confirm that it's Resnick, and B, ascertain any more information about the way that he died.
You did some police work ahead of this because you had time this afternoon, and you were able to find a photo of him from a class picture. So you know that this is indeed Resnick.
Okay.
And make a spot hidden, please. Let me know what the success is.
Hard success.
Excellent. Good. You can see that he's carrying in one of his hands. He's clutching something.
Okay, I'm going to take a look at it.
Yeah, you cross the room to the bed. This place smells bad. It's student dwelling, so that says something, but it's sort of next level. It looks like how you would have expected modern heroin addict's home to look like. It looks that there are packages that obviously have been takeout from some restaurant locally. There's a smell of food that's just been rotting for a couple of days, and the bed has never been made in the history of it being there, and there's just a mattress, and there are sheets, but they're rolled up at the bottom of it. He is mostly naked. He's got underwear on, but that's it. And he looks emaciated, like he hasn't eaten in a long time. And his skin has got a real gray color to it. You approach and you kick, you sort of not trip, but you accidentally nudge a bottle of something, and it clinks against another bottle. And then you move over to the body. So you're going to open his hand?
Yes.
Well, you find there's a little jar, and it's a glass jar about this big, and it's mostly empty, but it's some liquid at the bottom of it.
No label?
No label. There's a cork that is a small cork that you can see on the bed that gets stuck into it.
Can I smell it?
Make a spot hidden.
Hard success.
You bring it up and you're about to smell it. Make a sanity check.
God damn it. Oh, but I have a talent that I think will help with that.
Okay. What's the talent?
Ignore sanity point loss from attacking other humans, viewing horrific injuries, or the deceased.
Nope.
Regular success.
You're going to take 1 sanity loss. So you bring it up and you're about to smell it, and then you look at it and you can see that there's more than just a couple of drops. It's probably like the whole bottom of the jars is coated in this stuff. And as you look at it, you see it sort of move on its own.
Cool. I'm going to immediately put the cork in it.
All right. You stick the cork in it. But are you still going to smell it?
No, absolutely not.
All right.
I would prefer not to get brain worms, David. Thanks.
But you look at this thing and stop moving, but there is something. It almost had a little bit of a worm-like appendage that came out of it briefly. If you were going to bet, you'd say he died from ingesting whatever the hell this stuff is.
Okay. Can I do I don't know if it would be a spot hidden. I'm looking for letters, phone number, agenda, or correspondence book, or a diary.
Excellent.
Anything paper.
He had precious few possessions. He had sheets on the bed. He had some food of takeout. But for a student, you notice a conspicuous absence of any kind of materials for school. It looks like he lives with nothing, basically.
Okay. I think I'm definitely going to take the corked vial.
Mm-hmm. If you
I'm
want
going to put that in my pocket.
you might be able to take enough remnants from the other bottles to fill it up more.
Okay, then I will do that. I would want to do that extremely cautiously, though.
Mhm.
Avoiding getting on my fingers.
All right.
If I can.
Yeah, you're shaking a little bit as you do it because this is an odd situation, but you managed to collect a sample size that I would say is about a teaspoonful.
Okay.
He had 5 empty bottles, and the one that he carried made 6.
Okay.
And now it's about 5 o'clock, so it's been about an hour of you poking around his place. It is odd that he had nothing with him. His clothes were there, and you looked in the pockets. There was nothing. A wallet that had his student identification card from Miskatonic. That's about it.
Okay, then I'm going to take that last sample with me, but leave the rest of the empty bottles. I think I'm going to call it in.
Mm-hmm. You're going to call
so that they can start doing like.
They can start working. Then send a crew over to pick up the body. Any other calls you're going to make?
Yeah, I think I probably would want to call Jeb Spiegelman.
Excellent.
If this is a new kind of drug that is being flooded on campus, Jeb will know what it is.
Excellent. We turn our attention to 3 men standing in front of standing over a table with a book sitting on it. So we are at the Babson estate in the living room. The 3 of you are standing over the copy of the Necronomicon that you had found. I'd like you to describe yourselves, and let's start with Jeb.
Okay, Jeb Spiegelman is kind of a mousy-looking guy, very twitchy, constantly looking at the exits. He wears a suit that's one size too big for him. And he's just trying to figure this book out. Like, is it valuable? Is it dangerous? Can I get superpowers from it? You know, anything, really.
Excellent. Luther.
Luther's a very large man, 6'4", muscular. He's also quite young. He's not quite 20. So he's, as much as he's looking at the book, he's also looking to Jeb and Curtis, kind of trying to gauge their reaction and maybe figure out how he should be reacting or what he might want to say.
Excellent. And our newest character, Curtis.
Curtis Albion Dubose, originally born in South Carolina, lived in New Smyrna Beach, Florida, and spent much of his life in New England. Went to university at Miskatonic University with Jeb Spiegelman as one of his dear friends. Curtis is an elegant man. Some would think of him as a gentleman. However, when you get to know him a little better, you find out that perhaps his family is gentlemanlike and ladylike, and Curtis has a little more of an edge to him and decided to become an explorer. And his life is somewhat of leisure, and he always has an eye for fashion Today he seems a little disheveled, as he's quite astonished by this discovery that his friend Jeb has brought to him. My, Jeb, how is it ever that you come to not speak to me for so long, and on this very particular moment you bring, what is this you bring to me, Jeb? How is it that you have come to this moment, you and I, here with this volume? I'm shocked.
Curtis, can you make an occult roll, please?
That is a fail.
Would you like to push it?
And a push means?
Push it means you get to re-roll, but at the disadvantage that I will make something bad happen if you fail.
I will push it. I am very interested in this particular volume.
I think
Series off on Curtis, guys.
roll.
It is a fail, but only by 5. And I do believe I should be using a little bit of luck for this particular occasion.
Afraid what I was about to say is you cannot use luck on a pushed roll. So you open the book. You just open it to a random page, and it's in the center of the book, and you're looking down, and you see, looking right back at you, is almost a caricature of yourself. Make a sanity roll. Oh, you rolled a 98. That's bad.
Yeah. So
you take.
Well, I rolled against my power.
You lucked out. You only lose 1 sanity. You swear you're looking into this.
Okay.
You swear it's a picture of yourself that's done up in a caricaturish form. There's all this ancient writing all around it, but it's your hat, the cut of your jacket, and the character is wearing blue. And at the same time, you read the text around it, and the text it seems to suggest it's in Latin, but it's something like "Men dream, the gods laugh."
I do find this very frightening and somewhat exhilarating as well, Jeb.
Luther and Jeb, you see the figure that he's looking at in the book, but it's just sort of an odd kind of stick figure. It's strange that he would be so affected by it. Phone rings, and the 3 of you jump. Ring, ring. Ring, ring. Ring, ring.
Oh my God, these goddamn phones. They're going to be the end of civilization, I'm telling you.
Luther, you pick up the phone, and a familiar voice.
Babson Estate.
Astrid.
Luther?
Yes, Astrid.
It's me. I called Jeb's secretary, Louise, and she said that you two were together. I was wondering, could I come by? It's not police related. I mean, you're not in trouble. I just wanted to talk to Jeb and maybe you too.
Sure. I look back to Curtis and Jeb, and I kind of like motion towards the book, like close it with my hand, and I say, yeah, are you able to come now?
Yeah, I'm actually, yeah, I'm in a payphone. Were there payphones? No payphones.
No, there is a payphone. That's where you are. You're speaking from a tape.
I'm in a payphone down the road. I'll be there in 20 minutes.
All right, see you then. Click.
Where do you keep this ancient and famous volume when you're not reading it from cover to cover?
I think I have like a vault where my grandpa was keeping stuff for like his experiments and the gangsters that were using.
Indeed, that's
so we like
your grandfather.
Mm-hmm. So we like lock it away.
All right. So down. You go quickly down there. The workmen have been doing a fabulous job. This place is looking shipshape.
So Curtis, I'm wondering about this book. Have you seen anything like this before?
I have not seen that exact description. I'm unsure of its origins, but there is something I am very sure of. That book contains greatness beyond our imagination.
Curtis, if you do know this book by its reputation, I'm giving you the information, even though you failed your roll. The failed roll is a penalty, but the information is yours. It is, in fact, a copy of the Necronomicon. And even normally you would need a Cthulhu Mythos roll to understand a tome like this. However, because of its fame, its notoriety, even an occultist such as you would recognize it. There are rumored to only be a few copies of this in the world. And somehow your old friend has stumbled upon a copy. And at that point, Luther, you come back up, having secured this book, and the three of you await Astrid's appearance. You can hear the sound of her car coming up the gravel pathway. And she comes to the door. Luther, you open the door before she gets to the top.
Absent. The place looks great. I hardly recognized it.
Oh, thanks. Work's been coming along very nicely. Would you like anything to drink? Any coffee, tea, water?
No,
milk?
I'm fine. Let's just go inside.
I have. Yeah.
You walk into the house, down the hallway. It is looking in great shape. You notice a man that you've never seen before standing in the living room to the right. He is very elegantly dressed.
Luther, I didn't know you had guests over.
A dear friend of mine from university. He's into some really bizarre crap, and we thought he could help shed some light on recent events.
Bizarre crap, eh? Like things that move that shouldn't move.
Yeah, sure. So what is it? What is the occasion here, officer, that has you bless a little group with your presence?
You've got the vial of this weird black stuff in your hand. Place it on the table, and then begin.
I found this at the home of a student who we thought was missing. He was dead when I found him. And this was in his hand. He was emaciated. He had his tongue hanging out of his mouth. It was black, and he looked like he had seen, well, he looked like one of us after our last encounter. I'm bringing it to you because, Jeb, I thought if this is some new kind of drug, then, I don't know, maybe you know someone who's seen this before. No judgment, and you don't have to worry about getting anyone in trouble. I just don't want any more kids to, wind up dead in their beds. Have you seen this before?
Can I take a closer look at the liquid here?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh,
Yay.
damn.
That's an extreme success. So you can
I made it.
You can make a sanity roll.
Oh, great. Perfect.
Congrats.
Fail.
So you're looking at the little vial, and now you see exactly why Astrid thought you would be interested in it, because it looks like there's just these little tentacles or pseudopods that keep popping up in the vial. You look at it; it's almost like it's waving at you, and you failed your sanity roll, so you're going to lose 1 sanity.
Worth it?
You shake it and it sort of goes back to its state, but it's something that you've never seen before. It's some kind of liquid that seems alive of itself.
Okay. Well, I think we can rule out drugs in this particular instance. Where did you find this again?
It was this kid named Resnick. He has been skipping his classes, and his parents were worried about him. And, you know, with the kids disappearing from Miskatonic, I went into his dorm room. He was dead, and this was in his hand. There are 5 or 6 empty bottles in there that look about the same. It looked like he was, I don't know, ingesting this stuff.
Did you look like in his mouth?
His mouth was open and his tongue was hanging out. It was huge and black.
Do you know whether we should look a little closer at this body? I think this thing's it's alive. I don't know. I think
it, right?
Yeah. So if you drink it, I can imagine that it's like in him. I'd like to look. You know, not like that. I want to look in somebody, but I think that we should take a closer look at this kid's belly.
We can talk to the coroner or the medical examiner and maybe get some photographs, talk to him, see what's up. So one of the things that a neighbor described was screaming at night. This kid was lethargic, completely out of it, and kept his neighbors up screaming, maybe having nightmares.
Make it a occult roll, Curtis.
Hard success. Spend 2 of my luck to make an extreme success. I think extreme's good with me.
You know about dreams and of course nightmares, and it sounds like this substance is some kind of pathway, perhaps, to the dream. It seems like that ingesting this stuff might give you an ability to break down some barriers between this world and the world of dreams. So you've got an idea that this actually might be some kind of occult object.
Well, I have an idea. How about Luther? How about you drink it, and then we just like see what happens?
Nobody's drinking it.
Yeah, I know you're joking, but the thought did occur to me. But I think Astrid's right.
If I may, dear friends, I highly recommend we don't experiment with this. But I am humbly at your service in this regard, and I wish to assist you in whichever way that I can. I am your servant from now on.
This guy's so great. I told you, he's funny. He's very eclectic, right? He's like a really like fluffy like feather in your hat. You know, it's just like, it's fun to have him around.
Like a big puffed up rooster.
I think maybe we could like go to campus and knock on some doors. How do you guys feel about that?
I think knocking on doors tonight, seeing if we can find anyone he was connected with or any friends he had, that could maybe help us find out where he was getting this stuff.
So the 4 of you pile into Edna's vehicle and find yourself on the west side of Arkham, the student housing area, and the boarding house where you found the body earlier. It's been taken away, and the police aren't treating it as a suspicious death. So his body's been taken away. The room is locked again, and you find yourself on the ground level. Sounds of people sort of talking and moving around. There's some music, and at the end of the hallway. What would you like to do in terms of your investigation?
Shall we split up, knock on some different things? I like the sound of that party. I want to go check that out.
Yeah.
Sure, I'll come with you to the party.
Okay.
The two of you?
That's going to go really well.
So Luther, are you dressed like a cop?
No, I was actually going to say, so I'm going to take my hair out of a bun and like muss it up and maybe like undo some buttons, look like a young person, put some lipstick on.
How old are you, Jeb?
I'm like 38.
38. How old are you? And you and Astrid, you are?
I'm 25.
What's your
But I look young. It's on my character sheet.
What's the number on your appearance?
50?
Okay.
Is that good or bad?
It just is.
Okay. It's the face I was born with. Got it. Oh, maybe I should go with Luther then. Maybe Luther and I should go to the party.
Luther, what's your appearance stat?
45.
I mean, he looks younger, but he's a fish.
We are not
so.
a good-looking bunch of people.
But perhaps Jeb and I should be together, and the young folks should be going to this party, and maybe I could give you a little bit of assistance with your appearance and change these things that you're wearing just a little bit as I see my fashion sense, give you a tiny bit of advice on how to be charming in these situations.
Okay. You're definitely not going to the party.
Well.
Why doesn't Luther and Jeb go to the party, and I'll take Curtis, we'll go door to door?
If that is your preference.
I will award Luther an extra 5% appearance for the quick work that Curtis is able to do with him.
Hey.
So,
I'm going to loosen Jeb's tie for him.
Do you have a fashion skill, Curtis?
I have a charm skill.
Make a roll on your charm.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I forgot this. Well, I guess smooth talker doesn't apply. It's a fumble.
Well, so you do your best with Luther to try to turn him into somebody who's charming. And the best that in the end, Luther is just accidentally going to use a southern accent every once in a while. Just makes him look odd. And that's at your discretion, Luther, but taking away the +5 I just gave you. So Luther and Jeb, you're down the hall and you can hear some noise. The music is odd. It's some instrument that you're not really aware, you're not really sure you've heard before.
Jeb, is this jazz?
No, it's not jazz. It's one of those weird, East of Berlin kind of sounds.
You can definitely smell pot smoke coming from the end of the hallway as well.
Okay, so this is a fun party. This reminds me back in my days here, we did some crazy shit. We're gonna have a lot of fun here, Luther. Work doesn't always have to be serious, crazy fish people trying to kill you.
You're standing in front of the door.
I'm gonna knock.
There's some conversation and some laughter, and then the door opens an inch, and you see a woman looking out at you. She's quite beautiful.
Well, hello.
And she says, hello. Can I help you?
Listen, me and my friend here are looking for a good time. Do you think you could help us with that?
You're pretty old.
I'm not that old.
Are you profs?
Yeah,
I don't believe you.
I teach law on the streets of Arkham. My name's Jeb Spiegelman. I'm a lawyer in town. This is my friend Luther Babson. He recently moved here. He is actually a famous boxer, if you watch any of those fun sports these days. And listen, I just wanted to show him a good time, and the crazy freaky music coming from your room here sort of piqued my interest.
I don't believe in violence.
What?
I don't believe in violence. She looks at Luther. I don't
You
think.
don't believe in violence? It's
Oh,
not like it's a thing that exists. It's not like it's fine. You know, violence is horrible, right, Luther?
Yeah. I'm retired.
Southern?
No. No.
He's working on his people skills.
Well, we're having a gathering here. So, if it's all right with you, I'm going to close the door and say goodbye. Good night.
Tell you what, do you kids like drugs?
Just one second. She closed the door.
No.
The door opens. She says, "Come in."
Thank you so much.
She nods, and you enter. Okay, so there's one young woman is fiddling with this odd guitar-like instrument. There's some smell of incense combined with pot. It's trying to disguise it with the incense. It's not working. And there are some people in the room. There are more people than should be in this room. This room comfortably can seat about 6 people. And there's 14 in the room. They're sort of draped around each other. And then the center of the room, there's a Ouija board. And there are candles lit everywhere. And the woman, she brings you in, and she says, "Please join us. We share everything here."
Wonderful. It would be our pleasure. Hey, Luther.
Hmm?
If you could just be chill, can you just be cool?
Yeah.
You're good at that, right?
I nod, but I also squeeze Jeb's arm and point at the Ouija board. And kind of
Yeah, no, I know. It's weird. It's as someone who's actually seen a ghost before, you don't want to be fucking with them.
"You know what this is, then?" she says.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've heard rumblings of this kind of thing. You kids doing this just for kicks or something a bit more focused?
I get my kicks lots of ways,
I bet you do.
but I assure you I know what I'm doing.
could I use the bathroom really quick?
Yes, she points to the washroom.
Okay. I want to look through drawers and stuff in the bathroom.
Okay, you're gonna go into the washroom, and it's surprisingly dirty. It looks like it's not been cleaned in a long time. This appears to be her apartment, and yet there aren't a whole lot of ladies' things in there. There's a toothbrush.
Huh. And what is the dirt? Just normal
It just
dirt?
cleaned for 6 to 8 months. So there's a level of grime, a level of dirt in it that is surprising. In your experience, women take care of their environment, and this woman does not.
Right. So I start to go back towards the door, and then I'm like, oh, and I go back and I flush the toilet, and I turn on the sink, and then I turn it off, and then I walk back out.
Somebody, one of the men waves at the woman and says, Asenath, come join us. And she says, in a moment.
So, Asenath, that's a very beautiful name.
Thank you.
What is that Polish?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, listen, you know, I have a bit of interest in the more strange aspects of our universe as well.
I see. Yes.
What is it specifically that you're interested in? Who are you trying to make contact with?
Oh, well, I'm just introducing these folk to the notion there might be something beyond what we think of as a universe.
Oh, Curtis should have gone with you.
You know, I actually had a friend who used to live around here. Did Walter Resnick ever come to these parties?
Walter Resnick. I have heard that name. Asenath Waite, you find out, is her last name. Asenath Waite.
Oh, Christ. I met a relative of yours. No, I'm not going to say that. Can I do a psychology check on her?
Yes.
Hard success.
She's aloof. She's charismatic. She's got secrets.
Is she hiding anything about Resnick?
No. She there's a smile at the corner of her eyes when you say Resnick. Resnick. Oh, yes. Yes, I'm afraid I do know of him. He's upstairs. He lives upstairs.
Yeah, did he ever come by here?
No, he's not part of my set.
Oh, I see. Well, listen, me and Luther here, we're always down for a good time, and we were wondering if we could, sit in and participate in this little thing you guys are doing.
I think it would be a little over your head.
Oh, darling, you have no idea what would be over my head.
I think I do.
Okay. Can I do a look around the room? What are these people like?
There's one guy who's a little older than, he's like early 30s. He stands out. Looks like he's a fairly wealthy looking gentleman, and he's sitting awkwardly around the Ouija board. He was the one who beckoned her over, and she sort of flicked him away. The others seem like 1920s versions of hippies.
Okay.
I guess they would be Bolsheviks.
Goddamn Bolsheviks. All right. Well, listen. I pull out my flask and say, before we get going, does anyone want a drink?
She takes it and smells it. What is this?
Only the best whiskey you can find.
She takes a shot and a half and then passes it back to you. You have a good day.
Well, no, I showed you mine. Now you show me yours.
I've shown you enough. And she opens the door.
I'm going to take one look at that Ouija board.
And he make a spot hidden.
Regular success.
There, you can see that they've got it written, like the letters that they're in mid conversation with are written down, and it's a NYARL are the letters that are written down.
Oh, fuck off.
Oh, God.
Perfect.
Um,
Well, Luther, you got anything to say to this lovely lady?
Nothing at all.
Jesus Christ. I'm sorry about my friend. Are you sure you don't have any drugs? I feel like he could use some.
the man you're looking for is Paul Rogers.
Paul Rogers.
Yes.
How do you know that?
This is my territory. I make my business to know everything. We'll see you again. And out the door you go. Curtis and Astrid, you go up the stairs and into the hallway where you first found this body. The door, you still have access to the key if you wish, Astrid, if you wish to go back into the room. What else would you like to do?
Okay, well, I think I'm going to go back into the room.
Okay. Opening the door, and Curtis, you're now, this is now available to you in terms of the information that you had seen in this place. The bed is obviously no sheets on it. The linen all gathered at the end. Bottles of this stuff, although it has been sort of moved to the one side because Astrid, you had done that when you were looking through it. The room itself is fairly bare, to be honest.
Okay. I'll turn to Curtis and say, this is where I found him. I looked, but I didn't see anything. Is anything piquing your interest?
Perhaps there are some books that this young man would be reading. I'll look around for some books.
Make a spot hidden. Regular success. All right, so you give this place another once over with Curtis helping you. I'll actually give you a bonus die for that.
All right.
Okay.
Extreme success.
So you
Did yours?
find, after much searching for this, for something of interest here, you see that there was a, in his kitchen area, that was in with a couple of thin volumes of like cooking tutorial books, basically like Man's Guide to a Kitchen. You see a volume that's slightly different from all the rest of them, and it's of a different kind of book, different kind of make, and it says Tribes of West Africa.
Tribes of West Africa. Well, that I should know something about. And I open that book.
You open it to a random page, and it's a book. It's a library book from Miskatonic University, and the random page you open it up to is talking about this particular tribe that worshipped a deity called Yib Titzel.
Yib Titzel?
Yeah.
Yib Tits for short.
Yib Titzel. It's a library book. I'm going to look to see if, what's his name? Walter. If it was Walter's book or if it was someone else's book.
Yeah, it would say. It was Walter's, but you can see that there are a couple of other names in it that have gotten that book out in the past.
Okay, I'd like to know some of those names if I can read them.
Yep, there's a John Ferguson, a David Beatty,
David Beatty.
Samuel Walters and Jacob Dover.
Jacob Dover. And is the book overdue? By a long time?
Weeks.
All
David.
right.
Do I recognize any of those names as some of the kids that have gone missing?
Yes. One of the kids that went missing was Samuel Walters.
I'm going to point to the punch out card or whatever it is and say, the card that has the names, and say, Samuel Walters. Dubas, he went missing 4 weeks ago.
4 weeks ago.
So the two of you have got your book, but the rest of the place is clean.
All right. Well, maybe we should start on the 2 rooms across the hall. I've already talked to his neighbor. She gave me some information. I'm not sure if it's worth going back.
All right, then. We'll go across the hall.
And your information, everybody in the hallway has heard the screams the previous night, talked to a few more people, no new information, unless you're going to ask new questions or you have new areas of investigation. I'm going to say that in general, you talk to some people, they all know that they've seen him. He was a weird guy in the last little while, wasn't that way before, and used to scream at night.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
perhaps we should be asking if people know John Ferguson, David Beatty, and Jacob Dover, and where they might be.
From the people in this building, those names don't seem familiar. 4 of you gather in the lobby of the boarding house and heading back to the Edna Price's vehicle. The cool night air, October in Arkham greets you. Leaves falling all around you and the moon shining high above. Compare notes?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Tell them of these names that we have as leads.
And the book.
Yes, and I have this book, The Tribes of West Africa.
And we need to find some guy named Paul Rogers.
Who is he?
I think he's a drug dealer of some kind. And then we met this woman named Astrid. Weird lady. I think Luther had a thing for her, but it was hard to tell.
He was giving her the old Innsmouth look.
Yeah, he was giving her, that really intense stare he sometimes gives.
She said the guy you're looking for is Paul Rogers. And then when we asked her about it, she said that she makes a point of knowing what's going on. So she was kind of intimating that she might know us. I don't know.
Oh, and she was a wait. Yeah. All right. Well, let's find this Paul guy.
You know where he is?
No, I should have asked that. I'm realizing that now.
Oh, can we talk to the landlady
Yes.
at the boarding house? And maybe ask her if she knows what boarding house he lives in or if he's on campus?
A quick conversation with the landlady yields you no new information.
All right.
Okay.
Can I ask her something?
And then...
Pardon?
Sorry, Luther?
So I'm just wondering how often like Aseneth and her friends are around. If she happened to notice like if she's always coming and going, or is if she comes here infrequently. Like
Aseneth, landlady speaking. Aseneth, yeah, she is here a lot. She is here a lot. She has booked the last 3 rooms on the floor, and her friends and her occupy those apartments.
But it seems like they live there.
Yes, yeah. Well, she does, and I think that Darby rents the middle apartment.
Darby?
Edward Darby. Yes, you've heard of him.
I haven't.
Oh, well, he's a wealthy old stock of Arkham. He's in his 30s, but you know he seems to like the young folk.
Does he sound like the guy we saw? Yeah. Yeah, you know, did they put down a deposit? Because we were just visiting them, and the room is filthy.
Oh, they paid a year in advance. I have no worries about them.
Oh, okay. They're students, or can anyone rent here?
I think she's a student. I think she works for she's a student, and she has a job working for a professor at the university. Did you have any other questions for her?
Yeah, does she know Paul Rogers?
No.
No.
I think maybe we should call it a night, and tomorrow when we're looking at the like autopsy pictures and talking to the medical examiner, we can look at the police records as well and try to find out Paul Thompson. If he's a drug dealer, he might already have had like a charge brought up on him, loitering, something like that, and we can maybe find out where he lives.
Excellent. Okay, Jeb, have you now like moved in with Luther? What are you guys like? Are you offering some rooms to people?
Yeah. Let me just check my floor plan. Jeb would be happy in the child's bedroom, I think.
I assume like when we're working a case, I'd stay there. Otherwise, I'd stay in the apartment above my office.
All right. And Curtis, is he in a hotel or is he staying with you?
I have a small farmhouse on the edge of town. But if we are investigating this together, I have no problem whatsoever if you offer me the courtesy of your hospitality.
And do you, Luther?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the three of you are there. And Astrid, you have your own place. What's that like?
It's like tiny. It's like the size of large closet. And it's next to like a railroad track. And it's incredibly loud. And like every time a train goes by, everything on the wall shakes.
But do you have a yard?
No. I think that was one of Astrid's choices. One of the things she hates is the country. She can't stand to stay in the country for longer than like a day.
All of you pass a rather fitful night. Certainly, Astrid, Jeb, you remember that strange thing in the bottle, and it throws you for a loop. Curtis, you spend the evening taking a look through that library book that you've had, and also thinking about the Necronomicon, and you start putting things together. You read a little bit about this god that this tribe had worshipped. The god's blood was supposed to have magical powers. And they were involved in a lot of sacrifice, and the blood of their god is something that they used to put on their foreheads to when they went to war. Make a library use roll, and I might give you one more piece of information.
Fail.
A fail. Would you like to spend luck?
It's too much. 23. I need to save some of that. Or should I? What the heck? Let's use it.
You're going to spend 23 luck. Okay. You press your into the night. You don't get a good night's sleep because you're reading through this volume and you're just flipping page after page of this stuff. And some of it's fascinating and some of it's deadly dull. The one piece that of interest that you found was that apparently this god that they worship is trapped and cannot enter the mortal realms, and she's trapped. There's an odd myth story that she's trapped by a waterfall and she can't get out of the water.
Trapped by a waterfall.
As she tries to reach out of the waterfall, her body disintegrates, and all she can do is transfer her thoughts across the waterfall to her people.
Transfer the thoughts. Huh.
But the waterfall prevents her from taking shape. And it's weird. Waterfall it feels like it's a badly translated. Not sure if waterfall is the term, but water is definitely in it. Again, Luther, last night you dreamt that you were swimming, and you feel like the dreams are getting more and more vivid. Partially, they're mixed with the experience you had in Innsmouth, but sometimes you imagine you have scales. Sometimes you imagine you have gills, and you can breathe water. And it's a delight. It's an amazing feeling to be that free. And Astrid, you're woken up every hour and 15 minutes by the train. However, it's somehow reassuring. And Jeb, your thoughts are your own. I'll let you have them.
They're all very sexual.
I'm sure, because there are a lot of sexy things happening right now. You actually do think of Asenath as you're going to sleep, and she is quite beautiful.
And she's like a mermaid or something.
Like
a reverse mermaid.
Reverse mermaid.
Siren.
Fish head on the top.
You guys end the night with these crazy dreams you're having, and we'll just stop there. It's always fun. Thanks, folks.
Hey,
all right. Thanks so much, David.
Thanks.
See you next. Is this Tuesday today? What is today?
I don't know, man.
Tuesday.
Tuesday, yeah.
Tuesday.
Sure. May 19th.
For part 2. But good night. Thank you.
All right, night, David.
Good night, everybody.